We live in wild times. Some days, it feels like we're all just trying to keep our heads above water in this flood of content. There's news, there's commentary, there's memes, and then there's your uncle's Facebook post that somehow manages to combine conspiracy theories, a Bible verse, and a grainy photo of JFK Jr. It's a lot, and I get it. I've been there. I still catch myself doing this. I'll be scrolling, see a headline that confirms something I already believe, and without thinking, I tap share. Didn't check the source, didn't read the article, but it felt right, and that was enough in the moment. But here's the thing I've learned the hard way. Just because something feels true doesn't mean it is true. Let's talk about how we got here. Social media wasn't built to inform us. It was built to keep us hooked. These platforms make money when you scroll, click, react, and rage. That's why the things that get boosted are the most emotionally charged, the stories that make you angry, afraid, or outraged. One study found that false stories spread 6 times faster than true ones on Twitter. 6 times. Why? Because they're designed to provoke, not inform. And if you think you're immune because you're smart or educated, trust me, I thought that too. I used to pride myself on being rational. But even I've fallen for headlines that turned out to be misleading or totally made up. Intelligence doesn't protect you from manipulation. Awareness does. Let me give you an example. A while back I shared this post about a senator who supposedly said something awful on a hot mic. I was furious. See? This is what I've been saying all along. But later that day, someone pointed out that the quote was completely made up by a satirical site. Not even a real article. It was a joke. And I fell for it. I was so embarrassed. But it was a good wake-up call. I realized I wasn't thinking, I was reacting. And when we react instead of reflect, we don't just get things wrong. We become easy to influence. That's how misinformation spreads. That's how people get radicalized. That's how we become tools in someone else's narrative. This is why media literacy is so important. But I don't like calling it that. It sounds academic, like something you'd study in a college seminar. What we're really talking about is mental self-defense. It's the ability to step back and ask, who's telling me this? What do they want me to feel? Is there evidence? What's not being said here? It's not about being paranoid. It's about being curious. Think of your brain like a house. You wouldn't let just anyone walk in the front door, especially if they were yelling or trying to sell you something shady. So why do we do that with our thoughts? Let me share 3 little habits I've been working on that honestly made a huge difference for me. 1. Pause before reacting. Seriously, just pause. I had to teach myself to stop doom scrolling and start questioning how I feel. If something online makes me furious in 3 seconds, I treat that like a warning sign, not a truth bomb. Our brains are wired to jump at emotion, and that's when we're most vulnerable. 2. Check before you share. This one's hard. Sometimes I want something to be true because it supports my beliefs, but taking a minute to check another source, especially one outside your bubble, is like a mental palate cleanser. If it still checks out across perspectives, it's probably solid. 3. Embrace the gray. We all want things to be black and white, good versus evil, right versus wrong. But life doesn't work that way. Most issues are messy. If a source gives you a superhero and a villain in every story, chances are they're selling a narrative, not facts. I had a conversation recently with a family member. You know, one of those family members. We don't agree on much politically. But I tried something new this time. I didn't argue. I didn't dunk on them. I just asked questions. I said, "Where did you hear that from?" They paused. "Honestly, I'm not even sure. It was just on my feed." That's when it hit me. A lot of the stuff we believe isn't because we've thought it through. It's because we've absorbed it without realizing. So now, I try to approach every conversation like that, with curiosity instead of combat. You learn more, and sometimes, so do they. Now here's the uncomfortable truth, and I say this with love. When we stop questioning, when we start treating certain figures or influencers like they're beyond criticism, that's when we slip into cultish territory. That's not thinking. That's following. And when loyalty to a party, a person, or a tribe becomes more important than loyalty to truth, that's when democracy gets fragile. That's when we start seeing each other as enemies instead of neighbors. So here's what I want to leave you with. You are not powerless in this world of noise. Your mind, your ability to think clearly, is your most valuable asset. It's yours. It can't be taken, but it can be trained. Every time you pause and reflect instead of react, every time you verify instead of assume, every time you stay open to complexity instead of chasing easy answers, you're doing something powerful. You're defending your mind, you're protecting truth, and, maybe most importantly, you're helping to rebuild something we've been losing. Trust. Not blind trust in institutions or headlines, but the trust that comes from real thinking, from real listening, from real conversations like this one.